consistently. I've really have never met anyone who said they really have it licked, but maybe there are. Maybe there are people. I just haven't met them because I think this is an ongoing part of being human, that we're always dealing with anxieties and there's some beautiful biblical teachings on it. One of the ones I want to talk about today is the idea that sufficient unto the day are the troubles thereof. And in other words, like that's saying, me paraphrasing here, is like every day is going to have its problems. Just stay in the day. Because what happens with anxiety? How does anxiety work? Well, anxiety often grows out, not all the time, but oftentimes it grows out of a really good thing. We love our kids, so we're anxious when they tell us they're backpacking across Europe. We really want to get a project done with somebody, and we're really enjoying that. And then all of a sudden something goes awry in the project, and it's like, oh, a lot of anxiety around that. A lot of financial anxiety. Well, what's the basis of financial anxiety? For most people, it's because they're worried they can't take care of their loved ones, and that this will be detrimental to the care they would love to show to other people. So that's a starting point with anxiety. Is that oftentimes at its very, very, very core, it is based on a love, but then it slowly morphs outward, and this is where health sort of specializes. Is it sort of morphs outward into a story. And the story is more of a problem than the facts. That's really important to remember. And are there times where the facts of it are so difficult, like beyond imagination? Absolutely. But for the run-of-the-mill anxiety that most people deal with, probably 95 to 98% in their lives, most of it is we have these facts, and what we've done is we've blown these facts out, and these facts have become this huge story that we hold around this anxiety. That a great phrase for that, and I believe this is Martin Seligman, courtesy of Martin Seligman, professor down at University of Pennsylvania, is the idea of catastrophizing. So what happens is that anxiety starts to where we catastrophize, and then we run downhill with it. We just grab a hold of one fact and then da 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 da. Simple example, like my son and I are working on he's doing the work really, but renovating a house, leak in the ceiling. Leak in the ceiling becomes the whole thing is falling apart, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be homeless, blah, blah, blah. All this just is crazy stuff. Where what happens is you have that fact, there's a hole in the ceiling, and then that fact becomes this incredible story, destructive story, very anxiety-producing story. And the more the story gets away from the fact, the more anxiety it produces, because it gets further and further away from the reality of the situation and more into sort of an imagination that's not being fed by heaven. It's being fed by hell, which is a lot, which really is a force that is there to drive our anxiety, that's there to make it worse and worse and worse. So what can we do? Well, I think, again, come back to the Bible passage. Just remember, there's never going to be a time where it's trouble-free. As crazy as it sounds, never hold a time where it's going to be trouble-free, because you're always going to have our challenges. Every single day is going to have its set of challenges. Number two is remember, oftentimes when we have those challenges, we start to feel anxiety, just acknowledge for a second the anxiety's there, but to also acknowledge, like, this is a love. I love my kids, or I love my spouse, or I love this, and I'm getting spun out a bit because I'm feeling like I can't serve in the ways I'd like to serve. And then just notice where the story goes. Is where we can push the story just a little bit away from us and just get that it's a story. Like, that's it. It's just a story. And that's where the anxiety lies. I think a lot of the time, friends, like it's what would be the right word here? We want to do what we can do to address the problem. I know, like, what I want to do what I can do to address the hole in the roof. And that may take a little bit of time, may take a little bit of research, but we'll get it finished. We'll figure that out. And then after we do that, just work as best you can to let it go. We've done what we can do. We're going to let it go. All this story just is going to pass away. Because you think about, friends, like how many times, it happens consistently with the human condition, right? Is we have something that happens, we catastrophize, we make it the worst thing. This is the worst thing ever. Feel like our lives are spinning out of control. And then it gets solved, and it feels like that all goes away. And the memory that it all gets solved goes away. And then we have to relearn that tomorrow. And then we have to relearn that the day after tomorrow. And maybe we can just be a little bit ahead of the curve today and just try to just the facts, man. That's it. We're not going to go into all the other story around things, and just try to get more and more sort of centered. That's where I think that, again, what Jesus offers is a peace which passes all understanding. And I think there really is just so much there around peace, just really, really, really sort of breathing and finding that peace. And that peace is where the chatter just goes. We're not ruminating on the story anymore. We're not making something that was bad worse. We're not extrapolating out how horrible this looks in 20 years. And again, there are situations where there are things that are that bad. I want to be clear. This is for the 95% run of the mill. And then just keep it all in perspective. Like I was thinking this morning, with anxiety, thinking, and I think about my loved ones, and if one of my loved ones was sick or I was sick, all of a sudden this anxiety would really look like nothing, to be honest. You would pale by comparison. And that's where we want to kind of keep things in perspective. So friends, may you have a day just remembering that the anxiety lies in the story, not in the facts. The peace, just go to the facts, address them as best you can, let go of the story, be prayerful to God to help you let go of that story. And I think you'll find a lot more peace in your life as we go into the week ahead. So I hope that makes sense, dear friends. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do our little meditation. We're going to do a little prayer. We're going to do a little blessing, a little meditation. And and then we'll say hi to friends on Facebook. So we'll get started with just a little breath. And a meditation from the Old Testament. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's take a little quick look here on Facebook. I hope everybody has a great day ahead of them and a great week ahead of them. All right, scrolling on down here. Linda, good message. Yeah, thank you. You know what? It's so basic, right? Story and facts. But it's, I'll remember it until I don't. And then we get to relearn it. Then we get to relearn it all over again. Welcome to the joy of being human. All right, now we're flipping over onto the other Facebook page. Let's see if we have any comments over there. Come on, Nelly, here we go. All right, Rita, good morning to you. And Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Hope your folks are doing well. All right, friends, well, listen, God bless. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow on 10 Minutes or More.